What does an artist do after creating what many consider to be a genre-defining masterpiece? Well, if you're Jeff Beck, you double down. You lean harder into experimentation, and you crank the fusion dial all the way to 11. Hello friends, welcome back to Jazz Inspires. I'm Joe, and today we're jumping headfirst into Jeff Beck's 1976 fusion classic, Wired. Now, if you caught my review of Blow by Blow earlier this year, and I know many of you did, you'll know that I consider it to be one of the finest examples of jazz rock fusion ever recorded in history. But here's the twist. So many of you in the comments said to me, yeah Joe, we know that Blow by Blow is great, but Wired, now that is the real deal. And honestly, that really stuck with me. So I went back, listened again, and now I'm here to share my full and honest take. Because Wired is a fascinating album. It's heavier, it's bolder, it's sometimes more direct, sometimes more abstract. And in many ways, it's Jeff Beck at his most fearless. So let's get into it, track by track, and by the end, I'll tell you how I think Wired connects with Blow by Blow, and where I think it stands in Beck's entire catalogue. Released in May of 1976 by Epic Records, Wired was Jeff Beck's third solo album, arriving hot on the heels of Blow by Blow, which was released just a year before and was a major commercial and critical success. At the time of release, Wired reached number 16 on the Billboard 200 and eventually went platinum in the US. That alone speaks volumes. Fusion wasn't exactly the pop genre of the day, but Beck's popularity and artistic vision carried it into the mainstream. Now here's something interesting. One of my viewers who actually watched my Blow by Blow review said that they think Wired may have been recorded in the same set of studio sessions as Blow by Blow. While I haven't been able to confirm that 100%, it certainly feels true in spirit. There's a real sense of continuity between the two albums, even though Wired definitely carves out its own sonic space. This time around, Beck surrounded himself with an all-star cast. Jan Hammer on synths, Max Middleton, Beck's longtime collaborator on keys and clavinet, Wilbur Bascomb holding down the bass, Narada Michael Walden, Richard Bailey and Ed Green handling the drums, and on the production side we've got George Martin back again, joined by Chris Bond and Jan Hammer. Now let's go track by track. Wired opens with a bang. Lead Boots is a track that doesn't ask for your attention, it grabs you by the collar. The name itself is a play on Led Zeppelin and gives you a hint this isn't subtle jazz fusion. This is high octane, rock infused fusion with grit in its teeth. Structurally, it's relatively simple. You've got this heavy, almost industrial rhythm that acts as a foundation. And then Beck just tears into it with this crunchy, overdriven guitar tone. There's not a lot of harmonic complexity here, and that's the intention. This track isn't here to make you think, it's here to hit you in the chest. What's cool though is that it sets the tone for the album. It tells you this isn't going to be like Blow by Blow. We're going in a different direction. Now this is where things really start to cook. Come Dancing kicks off with a tight, almost minimalist drum beat. And then we're thrown into this deep, funky groove. The interplay between Beck's guitar and Wilbur Bascomb's bass is just filthy, but in the best way. That low end feels like it's got a swagger to it, almost like it knows that it's cool. The electric piano floats in shortly after, giving the track a lighter, playful quality, almost like it's dancing. Then the brass kicks in and boom, we're in big band fusion territory. Beck's tone on this one is muddy, gritty and deliberate. He's not going for clean, shimmering licks, he's going for character. There's this rawness to his playing, almost like he's playing it live, like it's bleeding into the room. And then the synths. Man, the synth textures on this track are so 70s. They're quirky, they're a little bit weird, and they remind you that this project was created at the peak of the fusion movement. One of my favorite moments on this track happens around the 3 minutes and 8 seconds mark, so guys, make sure you go check that out. Beck slides into this completely unexpected groove. It only lasts maybe 6 to 8 bars, but it's pure gold. It's this thing that he does where he introduces a new idea and leaves you wanting more, just like he did at the end of She's a Woman on Blow by Blow. It's like finding a hidden track within a track. Next is the emotional centerpiece of the album, a Charles Mingus tune originally written in tribute to Lester Young. Goodbye Pork Pie Hat is slow, bluesy, and incredibly open. It's not about speed or precision, it's about feeling. And Beck delivers. His phrasing is expressive and deliberate. You can hear the space between the notes, and in jazz, that space is music. What I especially love is how Beck manipulates distortion throughout. He never lets it get too harsh, just enough to colour the emotion. The guitar becomes his voice here, bending and stretching phrases like he's speaking through it. He's not playing the blues, he's living it, right here on tape. Track number 4, Head for Backstage Pass. This one is a short burst of high energy jazz funk. It opens with this percussive conversation between the bass and the drums. A classic call and response before the full groove drops in. The electric piano and Beck's guitar join the party, and suddenly you feel like you're backstage at a Mahavishnu gig watching the warm-up jam. Even though it's under 2 minutes long, Head for Backstage Pass feels like a complete experience. It's snappy, tight, and a reminder that Beck and his band can deliver complex grooves without overstaying their welcome. It's also a track that fusion purists will love. There's a lot packed into this little pocket. Now this is where things start to cook again. Blue Wind is fast, breezy, and loud, like Beck was driving down the Pacific Coast Highway with the windows down and the amp cranked. The lead riff is full on rock, then Jan Hammer's synths drop in with this completely different energy, swirling, bending, stuttering. Suddenly we're back in jazz fusion land. It's a fascinating tension between two aesthetics, rock on one side, fusion on the other, and somehow they meet in the middle. The solos between Beck and Hammer are like a duel, playful, competitive, but deeply respectful. It's that spirit of musical conversation that defines the fusion genre at its best. After the intensity of Blue Wind, Sophie slows things down. This track is moody, introspective, and drenched in atmosphere. It's not flashy, it's emotional. Beck's phrasing here is long and expressive, drawing you into a kind of twilight dream state. The keys and background textures provide a sort of cushion, and Beck floats on top of it, his tone gentle but still full of bite. The solo on this track is one of his best on this album, not because of speed, but because of control. This is Beck at his most cinematic, telling a story with no words, just feeling. Play With Me brings the energy back up, but in a cheeky, fun way. It's funky, upbeat, and has this bounce that makes you want to move. The groove is tight, the keys are sharp, and Beck plays with this mischievous grin in his tone. You can tell the band was having fun with this one. The rhythm section is locked in. Every note feels like it's dancing. And even though it's relatively short, it packs a punch. It's like a jam session at the end of a long night when the band just wants to cut loose. And we end on a whisper. Love is Green is soft, reflective, and incredibly intimate. Just Beck and Max Middleton letting the music breathe. It's a beautiful outro, almost like a lullaby for the album. After all the technical fireworks and heavy grooves, this is a reminder that sometimes simplicity is the boldest choice of all. So, Wired, is it better than Blow by Blow? That's not an easy question. They're siblings, not rivals. Blow by Blow is smoother, more melodically driven. Wired is bolder, grittier, more electric. It's the wild cousin. But here's the truth. They're best experienced together. They capture Jeff Beck at a point in his career where he was completely untethered by genre expectations, just chasing sound. If you haven't yet, I highly recommend checking out my blow-by-blow review right after this video. I will link to it on the screen and in the description. That way you can experience these two masterpieces as part of the same journey as Beck intended. Until next time, keep listening, keep exploring, and as always, stay inspired.